Welcome to the latest Talking Points video, and it is called Talking Points for a reason. We want to talk to you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions, you're going to answer them hopefully, and we're going to reward you for doing so. So if you answer one of the questions that I ask, you will get free access to Cypography, and we're going to pick somebody from the comments section, and they are going to win a limited edition Wafty Sip camera strap for your camera. So I'll ask the questions, put your comments in the sections, we will reward you, and maybe we'll have a nice little discussion about a few things along the way. So this is how it works. We're going to pick sections from our films within certain months of the year. We're going to break them down, pick little bits out of them, and we're going to have a little discussion about them. So first up is the autumn feed up. Something that Henry Lennon mentions in one of his County Lines films. The idea of the County Lines series is we catch a carp from every single county across the country, and we go quite literally everywhere, as you would imagine. But one thing that Henry brought up was the myth, or supposed myth, of the autumn feed up. He doesn't believe in it, or he certainly doesn't believe it exists anymore. So my first question to you is this: do you believe in the autumn feed up or not?
Canals, I love canals. To be fair, I do more of my canal fishing over in Europe, but I mean the principles are still pretty much the same. You're looking for structure, you're looking for basins, for bends, for boats, anything that is going to be interesting to the carp and that's going to hold them there. That's what you really want to focus on. One thing I do love with canals is being able to do a bit of pre-baiting. Again, that's offering them something to stay in an area. Obviously we can't do that at how we're fishing, so we really are being drawn to those other areas where they're naturally going to hold up. They can be tricky, they can be frustrating, because you may find fish and be fishing for them, and then all of a sudden you've got rods out, you've spooked them, and there's no carp for miles and miles around. That can be really frustrating, but on the flip side of that, you can also be fishing for no carp, and all of a sudden the shoal of 20 carp just rock up into your swim, and it's game on again. Yeah, canals are exciting as well because the stock mystery, you never really know what's in there. They don't get fished for loads, even the well-fished canals still have that element of mystery, and they've all got carp in there that you don't know how they've got there, who's released them in there, if they've escaped, if they've been stocked, whatever. It's a big mountain pot of carp a lot of the time in these canals, and that mystery, that adventure is something I'll always look forward to in fishing, and yeah, canals definitely offer it. There's got to be carp in them reeds, look at that.
Hello. Hi.
That's all right.
What's that for then?
Yeah, Cypography, I don't know if you know Cypography. Yeah, so for Cypography. It's a series I do called County Lines, and you've got to go and catch a carp from every county. Do you think we've got a good chance here for a couple of hours to maybe nick one?
Put one down the edge, put one over the other side.
Oh yeah, that is shallow. Pretty firm though. Oh, that is bloody shallow.
Across down the other side there.
Right,
You can't hang about there.
Okay, yeah, we'll give it a go.
Try that. If not, go down between the boat, all the boats.
Okay.
But if you want bream, you'll see them. There's two guys there.
No, we definitely don't want bream.
No, they're in the deep.
Right, okay.
They're in the very wide deep on the other side of the bridge, the bream.
Bit close in down there.
Yeah, they're, but if you want the carp, go to the free boat.
Rich has just gone for a little walk up the canal after we've been given some advice from a very nice man, and he's just called me to say that there's carp up there. So I ain't waiting around, gonna pack up, go up to where he is now, catch a quick one. I'm hoping that all these kids on the canoes doesn't spook them in the time between it takes us to pack up and go. But it's a chance we've got to take, and right now I just want to get wrapped up and get on the move. Autumn is the season where I feel most out my depth as a carp angler. I feel like it really pulls my pants down every season. Every season I go into it with a new mindset, and I always seem to struggle. I don't know if it's the mixing of the of deoxygenated water with oxygenated water, as those temperatures meet and those thermoclimes, they start to join, and that sends them off. Whether the fish are feeding on naturals a lot more, I really don't know what it is that throws them off, but every season you see all these posts on Instagram about how big carp autumn is and how now's the time to be catching massive fish, but I've never really experienced it. And to be honest, besides seeing that narrative, I never see many people having loads of success. Maybe every year I see a couple of people have a good autumn campaign, but other than that, people seem to struggle. And I think it's a bit of a myth that autumn is this harvesting season for carp fishing. I think people do struggle on it because it's quite difficult to predict how the carp are feeling, what they're feeding on, and whether they want to feed at all. I think that is also another issue, is that big carp feeding in autumn doesn't actually happen. Something about seeing carp, or, well, we've not even seen them, but hearing about carp show, knowing that you've got a chance, does just lift you so much. And I feel very motivated at the moment. That's not what you want on a canal when you're fishing it, though. Can you see that? The kid's just jumping in the background. Hopefully that didn't spook them. Some of them kids are going to end up in the canal here. That's what you want to film. All right, let's get out of here. We've just seen a reed knock, which can only mean one thing. Well, it can mean many things, but we're only assuming it means one thing, and that is that there's a carp there. A massive 20-pound scaly canal carp is feeding right over there. So we're gonna waste no time, drop a couple of rods around this reed line with the baiting pole, and it's gonna go in 5 minutes. Can't not. Which ones? Those are the bad boys. This baiting pole's been in and out of this bag more times than I can count this session. Hopefully this will be the last time, because we'll catch one. Please, please let this one do a bite. What should we do with this one? I reckon straight across. All eggs in one basket, or should we? No, let's go into this little cove here, that's quite inviting. Let's do that. Oh, please go. There's one, little bambino. Rich had a little bit further, didn't he? Right, there's a couple underneath that bush there. Not seen any further up, so it looks like that bush is the place to go to. Right, another move. He looks like a bit of a better one at the back there. Is it the one sticking out in the water? We've seen about 5 or 6 around this one.
Yeah, well, there's more down there as well then.
Oh.
Yeah, it's sort of semi-submerged, but it's not a proper bush, there's no leaves on it really. It's in the water, like snags almost.
Okay, well, I think I can.
Skinny.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, that's a big one. That is a nice carp. This is such a welcome sight. I owe Rich for this one big time. He's come up here after we got the rods out a little bit further down. He found them with a load, told me to come have a look, and yeah, he's right, there's more than some. There's quite a good number of carp up here. from this snag all the way down to the next snag, this maybe 40, 50 metre stretch. I'd say we've seen 20 carp after going through a period of not seeing anything, and that's probably for the whole session. Not seen anything at Welford, not seen anything at Angler's Paradise in terms of actually seeing carp in the water. This is just buzzed us up no end. So we're going to get the rods, get up here, get rods out, and this is it. I'm telling you, this is it. Oh, that's a good one. They're feeding around there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 carp here. Like there's carp all up and down this bank, but I've only got 2 rods. So I need to figure out the best place to put them. I'm gonna put 1 rod here on an alarm, and then I'm gonna put 1 rod up against that snag there where I keep seeing a couple drift in and out, and actually sit on the rod. Because if they get in that snag, then I'm kind of done for. So I need to sit on that rod, put this one on alarm. It's a bit more open water, but there's a lot of fish here, like 5 or 6 just sat in this one area. So I think this is the place to go. This is the spot, 100%.
Henry,
Yes.
even though you've been doing this a while, do you still get excited?
Well, look how excited I am. My rod's all tangled together. I can't quite untangle it. My hands are shaking. I really want to catch one of these carp. Yeah, perfect. Just then. Oh, one's just spooked just there.
Yeah.
And we are in to a Cornish carp.
Next question I have is from Luke Stevenson's Big Carp Massacre film. I know the name might sound a little bit extreme, but there is a reason for that. He quite literally caught so many big carp in one short spell last autumn that we just had to call it that. So one of the things Luke mentions whilst we were out filming with him was how well his baiting up went. He sort of says that no one ever seems to talk about how well the baiting up goes. So I think some people will pay a lot of attention to how accurate or how well their baiting goes, but maybe that's not the case for everyone. Some people like bait here, there and everywhere. My question to you is, how much attention do you pay to your baiting? Do you want it all super tight? Do you like a spread? You know, how do you want to put your bait out? Does it depend on what bait you're using? I imagine it does, but what are your thoughts on baiting, and how much attention do you pay to getting it exactly how you want it? And does that leave you distraught if it goes wrong? Because I know it does for me. So check this clip out. Like I say, it's a section from a film which contains loads of big carp, and you know, Luke is always a good watch.
That, I'll tell you what, that's one of the main draws, how quiet the place is. It's lovely. Not just anglers wise, like just people, like there's a lady walks around the lake she probably lives in the farmhouse down the bottom. Walks her dog around the lake every day, and that's about it. You see the farmer occasionally, the odd other angler. It's bliss, mate. I've been using this goo a year or two now on my hook baits. Whether it makes any difference, I don't know, but it certainly doesn't hurt. They come in smelling lovely and sweet. Certainly with this one anyway. I use the squid on my fish meal cork balls in the warmer months, and this buttercorn when I'm using manila seems to complement it. And it's not bright as such, although it's white, just gives the bait a bit more of a pale appearance. I'm going to get round and bait that. Although I've been getting plenty of bites, we're a week away from November, and I've been getting bites over a lot of bait, and sooner or later that will change. So I am conscious of not fishing over too much, especially if I'm only redoing rods and I've not had a bite. It's a job to know whether you've been fed on, or that's the ultimate question, isn't it? Have I been fed on and cleared out? I don't think I have. So I'm going to go in with maybe half of what I'd usually go in with. Maybe, I don't know, 10 of these pouchfuls, or half a key I suppose, top up with. I mean, they are big carp, and I think they're coming in groups. Often you see them in groups, and even when you see them fizzing and that, you'll see over a 30-yard area, you might see 3 or 4 active fizzers. So they're feeding in groups, and yeah, like I say, they're big hungry carp. So at the same time, I sort of don't want to change what I've been doing. Which is feeding over a lot, creating a bit of a feeding scenario down there, you know, like competitive sort of scenario is what I'm trying to achieve. Fishing over more bait than you perhaps might usually. I mean, I'm baiting up with big hits of bait, and they're definitely getting through that. So why shouldn't you emulate that with your fishing? I often see people do that, you know, like put in big hits of bait and come back and fish over just a handful. Right, I think that will do. Always end on a good one. Right, let's go.
What do you mean it's all going very wrong?
It's because you two fucking Herberts are here. I never have this fucking issue. Yeah, but I don't have to fucking slow down the way you're fucking making me slow down.
I think you're rushing too much. That's the thing.
I'm not rushing. Something that a lot of people don't put enough emphasis on is baiting. You never hear about how well the baiting went, or how bad the baiting went. You know, the other day wind was right in my face here and it just went shit. Other times it just goes so good and you just fucking know, don't you? Excuse my swearing. A bit wound up because Elliott's been absolutely hammering me. I suppose you've got plenty of shots of that kilo of boilies sitting on the clay there, have you?
No.
You've probably got more shots of that than anything else, knowing you.
This is where you're air drying them, aren't you?
Clay drying them. Well, that's the chance of a quick bite gone. But there's always tonight. Could not have gone better. See these lines well slack. You get the flurry of bleeps, and it all goes quiet for, I don't know, like 10 seconds while you make your way down to the rods. By that time the whole tip's over. Mega exciting. That's been happening a few times lately, I tell you. Can you smell Manila boilies? That's the one. You know, you get that double splash, the rod goes out nice, your bait up goes well, and that's your part of the deal, isn't it? The rest is down to them, and invariably, just lately, they've been getting that part right. Fucking horrible casting that sun, isn't it? Should really have sunglasses on. Again, I'll be blaming you two for that. Right, sweet. It's just a mishap, they happen. Couldn't imagine Elliott having to get his hands dirty in the clay picking up his bait, would you, Vin? You'd be doing it for him, wouldn't you, mate? Touching my rigs again. The rest of that next 24 hours, it just rained constantly and like not a lot happened. We're coming into, it was the Saturday afternoon, the rain stopped. It came over all calm, like the calm after the storm. An hour or so later and I get a bite, and again this one really pulled. Again, did exactly what the carving did, took a load of line, then did a big kite and then a big kite back this way. At one point I thought it was going to kite down into this corner where there's a pump. It proper gave me the run around, and you know, it was obvious it was a big one, and I had it in my head from the off that those two big uns would come along to this area, that they both get caught and they both like their bait, and sure enough it was no surprise. You know, I don't mean to sound brash or anything, but it was no surprise. It was the one called Leia, probably the big un, and I just couldn't help but chuckle, honestly, mate. It was pretty surreal. I rang you, didn't I, and you were up in London having a drink with Gemma, but you got Mike to come down and he did be proud with it.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of us is going to go for a Burton, I reckon. I'll get this net out and we give her away, yeah? Yep, big enough. Big enough, mate. I'll treat a little bit of an oldish wound. Give that a bit of a treat. Treat her old mouth. Old greedy one, mate. Come to the bait. 47.8, wasn't it? That'd do, wouldn't it? Hey? Sweet. I had a feeling I'd get this one. I'm not being sort of brash or anything, but it does get caught, this one, and it likes its bait. And I've been fishing over quite a lot. Right. Oh. All right. Just stopped raining, actually. It's been raining all day. Hour after the rain stopped, and all flat and really carpy, to be fair. See a few show just behind me, and then this churned off. Happy days, big carp. Oh, get her on my knee, and then we'll get her back. Happy days. Hey,
Yeah.
sweet. Well done.
Well done, mate.
Yeah.
In stark contrast to a big carp autumn that Luke had, we have Jim Shelley float fishing for carp. Now, this is probably something a lot of you haven't done. You know, I've caught a couple of carp, really, over the years, using a float. Certainly since I was a kid and you catch them like that regularly. I know a lot of us have probably done that, but I'm talking bigger carp, you know. I've only done it a couple of times. It just isn't that popular. And I think there is good reason for that, you know. There's a reason we use leads in our fishing, a reason we use bolt rigs and all that sort of stuff, is it makes it so much easier. Bite alarms, you know, you name it. Carp fishing has evolved from float fishing to where it is now for a reason, because the modern techniques are so much more effective, easier to use. You know, they tick all the boxes that float fishing doesn't, but there's definitely something enjoyable, something nice about float fishing. And Jim has done this on big carp lakes such as Horton. You know, it's not just a small fish method, it can be used for big carp fishing as well. So check this clip out, but of course my question is going to be, how many of you have caught a carp over 10 pound on a float, and how many of you use float fishing within your armoury today?
We're at Nash Lakes Royston, which we'll do later. I just come up with an idea of float fishing for carp. Now, how many of you sit out there watching these fizzers and don't catch nothing? Well, you can catch something by using a float. Different line angle, quiet as well, not the normal, what do we call, noise, unless you're using a bushwhacker. But the float is definitely an edge. I've caught loads of carp doing it. Okay, in recent years I haven't bothered so much. It's like all things, you forget and then you remember. Fishing depths of up to 25 foot, go deeper. That's really hard, so you use a Polaris float. It's really easy, set it up on your carp rod, job's a good one. And that's what we found a jackpot. If you can't see that, then you might as well give up carp fishing, because it's going off like a jacuzzi out there. Everyone loves sitting and watching a float. It brings back, if you've been taught the right way, memories. First things first, check the hook. Right, it's not damaged, just needs a little touch. So all we need now is a hook bait. It could be anything, but I'm just using a bit of a whittled down boilie paste. I had paste as well. So I'm still using a blowback rig, no liner. Put some whole, some broken, some crumb. This can be anything you want in here, just put a stone in. But that's going to be all right. The bag will be enough for the weight. I don't want it dissolving on the way down, so I double bag. And it's like, it's like floater fishing. You're not just fishing for the sake of it. You're fishing because you can see it happening. So the buzz is real. Wow, look at all that fizzing. Nice. So I still want to be as quiet as possible. Just nip the bag on. That's the weight to get out there. So we're not casting no more than about 12 yards. So come on, let's get this out there. You've got to have patience doing this, because the float disappear as it finds the depth where the putty goes to, and then as it donks on the bottom, it's called, touches down, the float then slides up. So you've got to have patience now, not touching it, just leave it. You wait till we start seeing, oh mate, it's fizzing or it might go out of my hand. I'm actually fishing the lift method. So if the float lifts out of the water once it's touched bottom and you've got it where you want it, what I mean the colour, when it comes out, that means from that short hook link to lifting the weight up, the float comes out. The float's up. I'm just dotting the float down. I like it to be like all one colour, which is orange, no white. So once I start seeing white, I know something's happened. But they're already moving away, and I'm thinking about doing a further cast. And bubbles coming closer. It's all exciting, you just got to keep your eye on it. You know, you're not fishing blind, you're fishing because it's happening. Fizzing means they're having it down there. Or did that float just, I think something just brushed along the line then. Look, they're fizzing all round it. I think I got this cast perfect. They're real close, real close. Clutch is set, and I'm just pinning the colour of the float down now. Look at it out there, you filming that? It's ridiculous. Come on, suck it and see. You're almost waiting for one to lift up, move, or even, you know, be attracted by the broken bait or whatever you got there, for instance. Float just bobbed. First time I've seen any movement. It's exactly what I was chasing in the other lake. All this fizzing, going round in packs. We're now going to go elsewhere, just round the corner here. They seem to be going more right. So we're going to jump them. They're going right, mate. They're going right. I'm getting to that point where I think I'm wasting my time and there's something better I may find, because what was going on is sort of fizzling out, and this is the problem. As the sun comes up on these high pressure cold days, I seem to be chasing the shadows, and then no, all finished. I'm going on the other lake in a minute. I feel like I know they're still here, so impatience. It's always something better to find as a rule. Don't know whether to make one recast and try and get it in the bullseye where they are really doing it. It's not as easy as you think. Casting this is a funny old game, not like a lead. Can you believe that's just gone there? Right. Let's get it out there. About 3 foot to the right now, and I'm up a tree. Twice. Come on, yes. Right, I'm off. I've had enough. I need to find more. There's better ground somewhere else. Come on, Elliott. Elliott, come on.
What are you doing casting when I'm not ready?
It's meant to be, mate. It's bang on them. The moids are bubbling.
Right, next thing to talk about. I went to Linear with Tom Stokes. I'm sure loads of you have been to Linear Fisheries. If you haven't, I'm sure you will end up going there at some point. Now, there's lots of lakes on the Linear complex, but we fished on the Hardwick and Smiths Lake, which is basically 2 lakes joined by a little causeway. The Smiths side of it is deep, smaller, and that's the side of the lake we fished on. Now, at night, it was quite incredible what happened, right? Both nights we did 2 nights. I had at least 1,000 carp show in front of me. And I know that sounds silly and you probably think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. We actually worked it out. They were going so crazy that in the end we worked out. So if X amount of carp showed every minute and that happened for 12 hours straight, blah, blah, blah. It was over 1,000 shows each night. Incredible. I've never known anything like it. I've seen big autumn displays, but I've not seen anything like this. There's a lot of carp in there, which I'm sure exaggerates the numbers of shows. On a normal lake where there's only 100 carp or only 50 carp, you're not going to get as many shows, even when they are going crazy. But this was like nothing either of us had ever seen. It was actually quite comical at times. And we didn't catch anything either. And that was what was made it even more incredible. You could have all those fish in front of you, try all these different tactics to catch one, but not be able to. It really was remarkable. And I've got 2 questions for you. Have you ever fished on Hardwick and Smiths Lake, and did you see the same thing happen? Or have you ever seen anything like this in your fishing? You know, have you ever been on the bank and just heard carp leaping out the water non-stop all night? It's been a bit stressful, but I'm at the lake now. It's busy. In terms of swims, there ain't a lot to go on, but there's one area I really liked. I've looked at it from both sides. There's a tiny little cutout swim on one bank, and then you've got a bigger, more commanding swim on the sort of near side, but that's the bank all the anglers are on. And as you look across to that far side, there is a big chunk of margin with no swims in it other than this little one I'm going to go in, and it's tiny, so I can't imagine it gets fished very often. I've seen fizzing from round on that margin, and we've also seen them showing from on the near margin. So rather than be casting long to that area in the dark, I'm going to go around and just simply flick them out. You know, it's the best thing to do for now. And I can reassess in the morning. The gates are locking in a minute, so I ain't got to worry about someone going in there just yet. All I've got to worry about is getting my rods out. So that's what I'm going to go and do.
Well, Elliott's just turned up and informed me that he's seen a crayfish in the margins further up the lake.
It's crazy in here. I just see one trying to climb out the bank, climb out the water. Yeah, I looked down and I was like, yeah, it's crazy.
It's single up baits, isn't it?
It's crazy in here, yeah.
No.
No.
I didn't even realise there were crays in here. Now I'm a little bit worried about those 2 singles. I mean, they've only been out. One's maybe been out an hour and the other one 40 minutes. But the problem with single hook baits and crayfish is it's just one hook bait for them to home in on. So, although I think it's a slim chance, especially as there are carp about, there is a chance that they could have been crayed. So just for peace of mind, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to cast this 3rd rod out now, bait it with a catapult, and then wind the other 2 in. Just check the hook baits, just check the hook baits okay. If it is, re-wrap it, send it back out, re-bait them. Then at least I know I've got hook baits on for the night, because if I don't do that, I'm going to be sat here all night wondering if they've already had the hook baits. And obviously we're not going to catch anything if they have.
Are you ready? Are you sure? Right, well, that's it. Rods are out. You can do no more. There doesn't seem to be as many fish in this bay now as there was this afternoon, but it is quite a small bay. I have had a few more casts than I'd like, especially recasting 2 of the rods just to make sure they hadn't been crayed. But, you know, I feel like they went out pretty well. They went out as well as they could, got good drops on them, or not put too much bait in, maybe 100 baits around each rig, which is more than enough for a bite. Don't want to overdo it, you know, especially as I feel like there may not be many fish in this bay tonight. We did see one show just, so there's obviously still the odd one about. Elliott's decided to go further up the bank rather than opposite, which is a good choice. You know, obviously when we got here earlier and it was quite busy, I did say to Elliott on the phone that there was a swim opposite free that does give him a good shout, because there was a lot of fish here, but I think the less lines in this bay, the better. I mean, that doesn't mean someone else couldn't turn up in the morning and go in there, but yeah, for tonight, feels good. Rods are out there. See what happens.
Right, I've just seen another one. So I've been in a swim 5 minutes, just basically picking my bits apart. I've got a lot of chopping and changing to do, because I've been fishing Burfield and I've literally turned up here unprepared, should we say. The carp has just showed exactly where they've been fishing, really. 25, maybe 30 yards out. And another one. I was very much rushing against the light to get the rods out. I had a bit of messing around to do. I had to switch all the leaders and that over, but it was a job that had to be done. So first job was attach fluorocarbon leaders to my braid, and then lead core leaders. Lead core leaders set up to fish with chod rigs as well. Chod rigs are great for fishing a swim you've never fished before, and in this case, a lake I've never fished before. So they enable me to cast out over pretty much any terrain and guarantee presentation. I normally fish my chods at around 2 to 3 inches, and this was no different. And in terms of hook baits, I was going to be using plastic, because on arrival, I saw a crayfish in the edge. And the last thing you want is those little critters destroying your hook baits. I absolutely love the chod rig. It's a rig I've caught so many carp on over the years, and it was suited perfectly to the situation. Right, first rig is ready to go. Chod rig, putting choddies on both. They're going mental out there. I reckon I've heard 50. One's just showed then. 30. Oh, look, can you hear them? Can you hear them? Quiet. Finn, don't cut. Listen. Come on. Did you hear that? They're going mad. Absolutely mad. So 2 chod rigs, spread of boilies, and we're fishing. That's one down. And casting out in the dark as well, you don't need to watch the rig in flight. It's never going to tangle. It ticks absolutely every box that I needed it to. Probably just fish singles, because the amount of fish showing. You don't want to scare them, but I hate fishing single hook baits, if I'm totally honest. I like to fish over bait 99% of the time. There's a lot of carp in here, there's a lot of anglers on here. They probably hear crashing and that all of the time. So with the depth of water, I want bait out there to pull them down. I want bait out there anyway. You know, combine the 2 factors, and I'm going to put bait up. Shelfies, got on the shelf life. They're going mental. Hundreds of shows I've seen now. Without a doubt 500, probably more. But I don't know, with all these fish out there, I've managed to put bait out as well. You know, I've got not just got 2 rigs out there, I've got probably 3 Kia boilies over the top. So I would expect at some point, as long as these fish don't move off, them to drop down into that deep water. They're clearly not down on the bottom now, otherwise I'd be getting bites. And I've had this in the past on deep lakes. Loads and loads of shows in the autumn, but can't catch them off the deck. So we'll see. If they stay here and they drop, I'm laughing. If they stay here and they don't, then I think a change of tactics will be in order, but we'll see. I think I'm going to catch one.
in here. Thank you, mate. We're off the mark. And I've just heard another one show. So we might get another one yet. It's got a funny little, like, parroty mouth. Well, there you go. We got the first one. I've not weighed it, but I don't know, I reckon it's a low 20, 21 pound or something. Came on the middle rod, just on one of them wafters over the boilies that I catapulted out. I'm quite pleased to get one, to be honest, because I did feel as though all the fish had sort of left this little bay on dark. It went really quiet, and from what I can hear off Elliott, they are jumping out one after another down there. It's probably only, I've probably been in bed an hour or so, it's only 11:30. But I woke up from what must have been a deep sleep because it felt like the middle of the night. But yeah, I'm pleased to get one. I've heard another one in the bay since having this fish. So there's obviously a few about. Maybe they sort of drift back in here in the middle of the night. But yeah, I'm not sure how Elliott's getting on, but at least we're off the mark. Happy days. It's got a funny pink sort of hue to its cheeks. So all is quiet this morning. Obviously I'm pleased to have caught one last night, but other than that, not a lot has happened up this end. Did have a liner on the left-hand rod about 6 AM this morning, just before it got light, but it's been light an hour or so now and I have seen very little. In fact, I've seen nothing up this end. There has been a lot of carp sort of down in the middle of this half of the lake as such, out in front of Elliott. I can see them showing, they're bubbling up down there. I'm not really sure what to do now. Obviously they were here yesterday afternoon, and what I'm sort of hoping for is that throughout the course of the day, they will move back up into this bay. You know, speaking to Elliott, he's very deep in front of him. But out in front of me, although there is still a good depth, I'm guessing 12 to 14 foot, I just feel like this is a better day zone, but it is a gamble. I could easily sit here all day and the carp not turn up. So yeah, don't really know what to do at the minute, but I am gonna give it at least a few more hours here. I think I'm gonna wind the rods in now, just check the hook baits, because as I said yesterday, that there are crayfish in here. Just fire a few more baits out, just to ensure that there is a bit of bait around the rigs. I mean, I don't think I've been cleaned out, but you know, it just, at least I know then there's a bit of bait out there. Yeah, get the rod, redo the rods, bit of bait out there, see what happens and decide what I'm going to do for tonight, depending on what's going on in the swim.
I've had this happen many times before in the autumn. I think the fish spend a lot of time up in the water, particularly when you've got depths like I have here, which I would guess are 20 to 25 foot. And when they show like that, in those crazy numbers, and I cannot stress how insane what happened last night was. 1,000 shows, I can guarantee you, but no bites. So with that in mind, I'm gonna put some zigs out, or at least one zig out for now, because with the numbers of fish there, I'm convinced that some of them have got dropped down. They've been fizzing out there, they're still fizzing out there now, and there is a chance off the deck, but you know, that the last 12 hours, you've got to take a lot from that. Loads of carp in the swim, but no bites. So little change of tactics on one rod. I'm gonna put a third out, basically bang in between the two rods. And then if nothing happens this morning, I'll put all three on zigs. I'm sure lots of you have also heard of Jack Thompson. He does videos on YouTube quite a lot, but he also does the odd video for Cypography as well. We discovered him on YouTube, as I'm sure many of you did, and then after that we thought, wouldn't it be nice if he made some films for us? So we asked him to do so, and this film is called Chasing the Shot, and it is all about seeing a photograph that he wants, going fishing to achieve it. Something really different, and I thought it was a really cool idea. So check this out.
Hi, my name's Jack Thompson. I'm an angler that targets carp from all around the country. Nothing really phases me when it comes to venues and locations.
Best fish I've ever caught.
I've caught carp from large canal systems in the middle of London to huge, brutal inland seas where scaly carp are just very hard to come by, like a needle in a haystack. I've never liked things to be easy, and that's exactly why I love making films slightly out of the ordinary, just so they are a little different to the norm. As carp anglers, we all get caught up in the same old scenario. Chasing one particular fish from a venue always seems to be the script. We have seen it time and time again. On this short campaign, I'm not targeting a particular carp. I'm after that money shot I used to really crave when I first got into photography and filming. As you can probably tell from my portfolio, I love an amazing backdrop in my photos, and to be honest, my angling has missed those special moments. When I first got into photography, I was fishing a particular place that was carpeted with bluebells, something that you just don't see many lakes with in the springtime. Since then, I've always been obsessed with trying to repeat that moment by capturing something special with the most amazing background. This lake that I'm heading back to has exactly the surroundings I'm looking for, but it's just all about timing. I've failed for many years trying to relive the bluebell moment, as you only ever seem to have a short spell of a couple of weeks when they are out at their most prominent beauty. This time I have a pretty good idea of where they are going to be, and I'm not going to let it slip.
This is what these missions are all about. Proper minters like this. Absolute gold. Yes.
So I've just turned up at this lake where you've seen me do a couple of films now, and I'm just not satisfied. I came down a few days ago, put a load of bait in, and basically it's a bit different this time because I'm going to try and fish it on the deck, but I'm going to have to wade onto the island. I know it seems like a lot of effort, but I think if I can fish underneath the rod tips, just in front of me where I've been baiting, well, I think I stand a good chance of catching a few. So I need to get my gear onto the island yet, so I need to wade across the lake from the back end onto the island, and then I'll figure it all out from there.
Right, here we go. Get across there. Got to get over there. I don't know if this is a bit deep or not. I can see the bottom, but fuck it, let's go for it. And I'm up. What a mission. I think this is raptor's eggs. No, all jokes aside, I think this is a goose nest, which unfortunately aren't being sat on. And that's not because of me. I mean, look at it. Totally overgrown, totally neglected. So, I've just made it onto the island. A bit of a mission going over 2 channels, but it's the only way to get here, and I've already put a load of bait out on that spot. It seems really good. I've just put a little heli on with a little wafter, and I'm going to flick that onto the spot. And I've also got another rod here, which I'm just going to roam up and down the banks with a little worm on, as you can see. I'm just going to try and keep quiet, and hopefully the fish are going to come into the edge. Since I've been on here, I've already seen a really nice mirror come drifting past, so like I say, I think it's about time we put this onto the spot. Looks like we're about to get a bit of rain, so you never know. It might kick off this afternoon, but I'm just after one fish. Not going to be greedy. But when you come on these sorts of missions, you should just bring yourself a little pouch like this inside my bag with my camera equipment. And that is what I've used to make a little rig. Just got loads of little rig components in there. And that's all I need, just to equip one rod. So let's hope it does the business. Let's get it out. This fish is absolutely stripping line. Had the camera set up on the other rod, and this one I just hooked on a 3-line worm, so let's hope we can get it in. But I'm going to concentrate. Another nice common. It's not a bad one. It's not a bad one. I thought today might be the day to come down there. Even though I didn't get it off that spot, it just feels really good for it, especially on this island, because they're drifting around the edges and it's quite shallow, so I can see what's going on. Like I said, that was only on 3-line worms, you know, my style. I've tried, haven't I, putting it on the baited spot, and it's not happened at the moment. I think that'd be probably a morning spot. I might have to try doing the night on there, but for the moment, that's 1-0 to me, you know, since the last video. So let's get her out and you can have a look at it. Yeah, have a look at this one. Absolutely immaculate condition, like they all are in here. Beautiful fish, just not getting very lucky with the mirrors. But here's another beautiful common. Lovely fish. They're all such good condition. There ain't no manky mouths on these fish. That's what gets me buzzing, you know. I've made a couple of videos about this place already, and I'm just not satisfied without catching those mirrors. So this time we're gonna get them. So yeah, really buzz with him. Let's get him back.
My last question is regarding Jim Shelley's Hunter Uncut series. And this series quite literally takes us everywhere, largely into Europe, as that is where most of Jim's fishing is centred nowadays, but it does take us here, there and everywhere throughout the UK as well. But the section I want to talk about is Jim tucked up, hidden away amongst the bushes and the trees around a lake that he's not supposed to be carp fishing at. Now, my question to you is, have you ever caught a carp from a lake that you're not supposed to go fishing at? Off the radar is a phrase that Jim has coined, and that is my question. Have you ever done this style of fishing? You know, got yourself all your kit, everything tucked away, out of sight, out of mind, in pursuit of catching a carp. A lonely old pursuit, but, you know, very different and very exciting. So check this clip out, a prime example of this style of fishing, and something that certainly isn't for everyone. We don't necessarily condone it, but you can have a bit of fun if you do decide to have a go.
Ended up somewhere else, but that's another story.
All is quiet. Going back to sleep. A little update. I was thinking about going, slowly packing some of the stuff up, and then I see a swell where my lines enter the water. Look, you can see how shallow it is. So there isn't a lot of nuisance fishing here. I think there's an odd trout or chub. They're in here big time here now. Look at the ripples going out. But all I've done is chest waded them and underarmed them into deeper water. Okay, but an hour has passed since the first sighting, where I saw some, and then I've just been here, seen some more, like the ripple like there, and just seen, they were small ones, the first one, like sighting, but these ones are bigger ones. There's been flat spotting out there into deep water, is one. Such a pity I ain't got this polarising lens, it'd be epic. It's coming in right in here. But I've seen them feed where my lines are. They're not bothered. But there's been flat spotting out over the baited area, which would be max 30 foot out. But it's deep water there. I'm so reluctant to, I was going to lift one out, but something just keeps telling me not to. And I've seen flat spotting. Now the weather's changed from hot to cloudy and rain out over the area. I'm so tempted just to leave it. Just don't want to go upsetting everything. And to be fair, I've only been here about 12 hours. Jesus. Actual fishing. Seen more. Couldn't wait any longer. I've just reeled the left hand rod in and put it underarm. And I was underarm, but further underarm into deep water, but I put it into shallower water, maybe 5 foot instead of, let's say, 16 foot. Just too many keep going around here, so I've just double bottom bait with a mesh bag, and that's the 3 offering hole baits, and then maybe 10 broken baits over the top. It's been in 5 minutes now, I reckon. See what happens. It's now down to them. Finally got one on. Gone a long way. It's a deep water rod, not the repositioned shallow water rod. Good 30. It's a nice one. With a weird shaped back. She's a lively one. Goes 39. Bungee rig. With a pellet. And it was a 22mm bottom bait. There you go. Off the radar. Happy days. She's a bit deformed on the other side. Weather's gone really stormy today, so it's no surprise that I was going to get a bite. They did arrive. Come on. There you go. There's a funny shaped side. They're not all beautiful, but they missed the carp. That's all that matters. Happy days. Right, let's get it back.
So there we have it, a variety of different talking points from some of the films we released throughout the month of December. Like I say, get your comments in the comment section. We'll give all of you free access to Cypography if you do so, and someone is going to win. this. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you again soon for more talking points.